Stan Shields, our first speaker today, has been building and working with database systems for more than 30 years. Systems used by the U.S. federal government in their daily operations, McCormick and Company, the Spice People, in their request for the Malcolm Baldrige Process Improvement Award, and most recently for marketing development, Las Vegas, LV.com, the Las Vegas Health and Fitness Chamber of Commerce. Database marketing and customer relationship management software is his specialty. Today, he will share some tips on how to grow your business and income using these tools. Please welcome the infamous, notorious, the humble, Stan Shields.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I appreciate that introduction. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and esteemed guests. Who here would like to get a 20% or more raise in the next 12 months? I have both hands up. I'm jumping. I'm going to share as many as I can of 9 tips that will help you do that. But first, we want to talk about 2 people. I'm going to tell you 2 stories. We have Nick and Fred. Nick is one of those people that does all these networking events that you see in Vegas. Have you ever noticed that? Las Vegas has billions of networking opportunities. Nick goes to all those opportunities. Nick collects these. What are these? Business cards. Who else has stacks of business cards sitting on their desk? Nick collects all these business cards, and he does his best of getting through these cards and calling as many of these people as he can. And he'll usually get 3 to 4 contacts with these people that are inside these stacks. Part of the challenge for Nick is that they're in a stack like this. Now, he got creative and he created a file bin to put the most important cards in it so that he could find those really easily and start to call on those people a little bit more often. But he's still getting about 3 to 4 contacts with each one of those. What Nick didn't know is that he is in the 92 percentile of people that are selling things. Because 92% of the people only make 3 to 4 calls. Here's the problem. 80% of the people buying do so after the 5th touch. So if Nick never makes it to that 5th touch, he's really hurting himself sales-wise. Now Fred's a little different. Fred is one of these guys that has had a database for 30 years. Fred uses something called a CRM. Who knows what that is? Anybody know what that is? A CRM, Customer Relationship Management System. Database marketing. Fred uses that system and has been for 30 years, which means that when he calls Kimberly, he says, "Kimberly, how are you? You know, I just saw your announcement on Facebook that you're in this relationship." He now knows something about her. He's building this relationship. Or he calls Jean and says, "Jean, I just saw that you've got this incredible program that you and a friend of yours are offering. That looks like it's really interesting." He knows something about them. He's able to talk to them and make it to bring it to a personal level. Who do you think is building the better relationship? Probably Fred. Now, he's been doing this for 30 years. For instance, Fred sells copiers. Okay, so Fred's been tracking this information for 30 years, so he knows when their lease expires. He knows that we're about midway of that lease, so now I'm going to really start to work on this relationship. I'm going to really start to zero in on how can I save them money? How can I deliver value? Because that's really what it comes down to, is how much value can I deliver to you? Because if I deliver value, now you probably want to talk to me and won't ignore me when I call you. So as we go through this process with Fred understands that 5-touch rule, that 80% of the people are going to buy after that 5th touch. In fact, they buy somewhere between the 5th and the 20th touch. So if we're stopping those calls, which I hear a lot of people say, they stop those calls after 3 or 4 touches. They say, I don't want to bother them. I don't want to, be a pest. Well, that is starting to limit us. What are some of the rules? The steps for building your database and the steps for creating this new income. 1, create an audience. What can you do to create an audience? I'm going to actually give you a free download that you can get that will give you 10 steps to create an audience, but I'll talk about that in a second. What's the next thing that you should do? We want to, let's see here. Oh, I've forgotten where I am. Ready? So, if I'm creating my audience, I'm now starting to track that relationship. So if I know where I am in this relationship with this person, how many touches, and where are they, what stage are they in my sales process, then that's going to help me be able to build that relationship much, much better. The third thing, and this will be the last one that I'm going to share with you today, create a 5-touch system. 5 no's. Minimum. 5 no's minimum. So that you get at least to that first stage of being in that 80% of where people are going to buy. Make a 5-no system. All right, so to wrap this up, number 1, your phone, Facebook, and LinkedIn is not your CRM. It's a database, yes, but it's not your CRM system. Find a good CRM that works for you. Next thing is to make sure that you then create your system that you're using it on a consistent basis. If you have it and never use it, it doesn't matter. And the last thing, make sure you create that 5-no system. Make sure you get 5 no's before you stop. And I say never stop, but just figure out how to work that. I said I was going to give you a free download. Here's a handout. It's pretty simple. standinshields.com/10 steps. It will actually give you 10 steps to start creating your audience right now. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.